Okay, I think we're all set. Oh, so hello everyone. It's really glad to see you guys here. I'm Go Gao from the University of Maryland, College Park. So today I just want to be here to share some of my past and ongoing research with you guys, which is falls in the space of HCI, which is appreciation for human-computer interaction. So here you will see a lot of the ongoing trends of HCI research is really closely tied to using VR, especially if tied to my personal research interests, how we can use VR to support remote work. That is really a hot topic going on in both research and practice recently. So before we move to more formal part of this talk, let me do a very brief introduction of myself. Oh, moving? No. Sorry.
Yeah, I can help you out. So you just
I
want
think
to
I'm
move up to the second slide.
second page. Now it's moving too far away. Yes, here. Oh, great, thanks. Yeah, so a little bit more introduction about myself. So I'm currently assistant professor in the College of Information Study at Maryland, where I also hold a joint appointment of UNIACS, which stands for the Maryland's Institute for Advanced Computer Study. So from the name, you can see we do a lot of research work and also education activity, community service about using computer technology to support different variations of human activity in the real world. So prior to Maryland, I received my PhD in both communication and information science from Cornell. That is about 2 years ago. And then in between, moving between Maryland and also Cornell, I also do visitor researcher and do other research projects in different places all over the world, including some of the research experience in Microsoft Research Asia and also the NTT Communication Science Research Lab in Japan. So over the whole trajectories, the major space of research I'm really focused on is human-computer interaction. So in case some of you are not fully familiar with what this field is about, it is in general a space where we use empirical methods understanding people's behavior, action, motivation in the actual work and life. And then from there, we try to vision design future technology so that we can better facilitate people's activity or help people remove some of the major concerns they have from interacting with the current existing technology. And then under different divisions of HCI research, my own work and the group I'm leading in Maryland is mainly doing research in the space of computer-supported cooperative work. So I think typical ways of using computer technologies to support collaborative work, ranging from, for example, email-based communication back to very old days toward mixed reality or visual reality that people are familiar with nowadays. And especially, I'm very interested in using those technology to support global teams that are the specific type of team where we have people speaking, for example, different native language. They come from different cultural backgrounds, located in different time zone or geographical spaces, how we can bring people together so that it can achieve the common goal in a very sufficient way. Those are the major questions I'm interested in studying and asking in my own work. Oh, great, this time it works. From attending the sessions yesterday and earlier today, I got the impression that many of you may coming from industrial backgrounds, doing startups in the space of VR or from other big industrial company. So I just want to make sure everyone are on the same page about what HCI research are about when we talk about VR or other related topic. I think in the industry, most of the time, people are more familiar with the wording as usability. So for example, the image I show here, it's a traditional image from back to several decades ago. IBM Research launched their first usability lab. So here, when we're talking about usability, it's merely we as developers and designers of technology provide some products or prototype of the new product we have done into the lab space, and then inviting some of the potential users, right? So those are the people sitting in the other side of the glass window, as you can see in this image. Let them to try out the technology we designed for people give them some pre-designed tasks to work on. And from there, we try to observe, okay, how good or how bad they feel about interacting with the technology. Is there any suggestion they can provide? Then using those suggestions, what do we try to do essentially is to improve the design of something already existing. So I think these days usability is still considered a very important aspect of HCI. However, today's definition of HCI really go through a much wider spectrum of research. And here I just want to give you several examples from the work done in my lab. So if we look from let's try clockwise order from the upper right corner, right? So that is the work I've been working on with my group, my students, PhD and postdocs for a very long time. We invite people into a lab space, but instead of providing them with a existing technology, we try to let people do collaboration with like people from the global scale and from there observing the way how they coordinate with each other. So from there, we try to extract some model to help us explain the nature of coordination among people, and then try to outline what is the future of technology design that we can just draw out in a blank paper, and then try to support people's like behavior there, which is out of the constraint of any existing particular products or technology. So the second one in the picture downside of that is another interesting project I've done with collaborators at Houston University of Houston last year. So in that project, we try to understand how we can design future technology to help people manage workplace stress, which is a really ongoing thing, a pressing issue facing by many, especially knowledge workers. So something we try very interesting, if you can look at there's one part of the image circled by a red box there. We designed a sensing camera. So this camera can help us collect people's real-time stress level in the situation of their workspace without using traditional methods. For example, letting people respond to a survey or questionnaire, or let them do self-report interview afterwards. Using this small, like intelligent device, we try to collecting people's information in the situation, and from there design a smart emailing system, bring people less stress about the overwhelming of the work they receive per day, but still keep them on top of everything going on in the workplace. On top of that, my group also do several other type of work. So for example, I'm a huge fan of doing workplace ethnography, where I go to different companies, either online or offline, either in a virtual or face-to-face format, observing the way how people do daily work. And from there, looking into their demands of future technologies support different type of work or group dynamics. And then the picture left is one of my most recent research from last year. So that is responded to the current trends of like AI enabled everything, right? So when we think about technology, many of the things are empowered by AI. So for that particular project, we're interested in for those like doctors working in the modern society. Each day they may use AI-based technology to do a lot of data analysis. For example, reading chest image or reading like patient's data. How can we design a system that can offer people both support and also making the data explainable if they know the results are from an AI generated results? So in that project, we draw a co-design session with those actual physicians and doctors and develop new technology for them, which is not available yet on the market, but we try to vision like this is a way how it should look like. And from there, we start to work with people from engineering or medical school, bring those systems into the reality. Okay, so in the general space of HCI, try to move to the next page again. Yeah. A huge focus of my work is to use technology to support remote teamwork or remote group collaboration. And we know that work has a long tradition in the general space of HCI, dating to old days, email-based research, and a strong focus of my previous research has a lot to do with supporting video or audio conferencing based system to connect people from different parts of the world. And also several of the study I've done before is looking into enterprise social networking sites. How do people use that to seek for information about each other, to seeking for no new collaborator and establish a new project? However, in this space, we do see a very important change of trends, roughly at the year of 2010. So prior to that, you will see research about from email to enterprise SNS as is hitting a peak of the research published every year and by different authors there. But after 2010, we see a strong trend for people to take advantage of the shared physical space. And from there, from adopting the environmental cue, they can sponsor support a better collaboration. So several typical type of technology you can identify in that space, including virtual reality, mixed reality. So the one you see about the mixed reality here is one called Tea Room, which is developed at the NTT Research Lab in Japan. So the idea is you teleport other people who are located in different space into one of the shared physical space you have with your own teammates. And then it gives you the experience that everyone can be sitting together in the shared physical location. And then the third image is embarrassing. That's one of my image back to a few years ago. So so when we try to use a technology called a telepresent robot to support people's needs at academic conference and team collaboration. In general, how it works is you have a robot where the person sitting remotely, which we call a pilot, you can manipulate that robot to navigate another physical space that is really far away from you. And from there, you will collect a lot of environmental information. It also offers you the chance of communicating with other people sitting in that remote space. Um, yeah, so I think some of the people will summarize the evolvement of research in such a paradigm. I think because of the time constraint, I will just skip this page. But in general, the takeaway is previously we try to focus on ubiquitous computing, really focus on turning everything into a computable interface to allow people input their idea and get an output. But what VR enabled along with mixed reality, with telepresence, is to allow contextual computing, where we can have a shared physical space, collect meaning out of that, and then let the technology return us back something we want in our daily work or life needs. So I guess on top of several things people already know about the VR, for example, there are technical work looking into how we can better connect individuals' virtual experience with real-world experience. There are also some of the research looking into the interpersonal process, like cognitive process people have in VR, for example, how to improve their memory of stuff you see in the virtual environment. My interest is really focused on the interpersonal perspective, essentially how we can support people conduct a better social interaction in the VR, exactly the same as what we are all doing today. And in that space, I think one of my ongoing research is looking at how we can better facilitate informal communication in virtual reality. This is a very important type of communication people will do without much planning, but still allow them to learn important information about each other, outline research and work coordination, build up later on activities they can transfer to offline. And we know so far many of the people are looking at how to run those informal communication in the, for example, reception in-person conference or over Zoom, which will be very challenging. And here the question we ask is like how we can better host and support those experiences in a virtual reality environment. So some information I want to introduce in the last pages. I'm now organizing a team, which is a collaboration between my group and Professor Haochuan Wang, who is an associate professor in UC Davis. We form a team looking into different ways to understand and support informal communication in VR. If any of the people here today are interested in having follow-up conversation about this, or you have any experience to share regarding this topic, I will be very happy to chat with you either through email or in later follow-up in today's VR events. Thank you.